space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Resurgence. Her mission? To explore strange new ideas. To seek out new ethos, new inspirations. To boldly look within for the betterment of all.
Captain's log. Stardate 89654.8. Our team has been on standby since returning to Probert Station. Dr. Delvalle has been working day and night to try to revive Lieutenant Snyder. He's been in a medical coma since we found him in that cavern. After the state we found him in, the idea of the lieutenant waking up only to be thrown into a brig for charges of treason is enough to make my stomach turn. This is Ownsby.
Ensign Esposito and 2 of 11 to see you, sir?
Stand by.
Good evening, sir. The ensign and I have completed your request.
And?
Lieutenant Snyder's actions aboard the Resurgence itself show no signs of espionage or treachery.
Agreed. Nothing in the ship's log, nor his work records show anything other than him doing his job.
No tinkering, lingering, no secret communications. The most I saw was the calls to his partner back on Earth Station.
Thank you for the update. Dismissed. Computer, continue Captain's log. 2 of 11 and Ensign Esposito's findings only push my suspicions about these charges against Lieutenant Snyder. Surely, as captain, I would have sensed this kind of treachery.
What? No.
Breathe. Lieutenant Snyder, you need to breathe.
Where? How?
Lieutenant Snyder, take it easy. I'm just going over the scans. You've just come out of a medical coma. You were in the Earth Station medical bay. We've been evaluating you since you were brought in.
No. Please. No more. You said I could die soon.
Lieutenant Snyder, you are perfectly safe at Starfleet headquarters. The crew discovered...
Dr. Delvalle?
1 second. Lieutenant Snyder? Computer, contact security. I will need assistance. My apologies. Who are you?
Officer Kawi Demares. I have been assigned to represent Lieutenant Snyder for the charges of treason and sedition against the Federation.
Demaris? You wouldn't have any relation to the...
What? No. I knew this was another scenario. I know it. Let me out of here.
Bite.
I did.
We need
what you
security
asked.
here now. I need to sedate him. His heart rate is through the roof. Chances of full shock setting in.
I just have to die in a new way. I haven't done that, right? Have I? She was right. Something is seriously messed up.
Nurse, please set a monitor to alert me as soon as he comes to. I'll need to send over my recommendation for the patient to have a few more days recovery.
But doctor, he's charged with treason. Shouldn't we
That's
be...
an order, nurse.
So, do any of us know who's in the lead?
Yellow. I believe after the last round, Ensign Esposito, you were.
I thought I was.
How does that make any sense?
That's still a 6, Holden.
Oh. Right.
So, did you ask that to rub it in, Esposito?
Using the Earth Station game to be able to listen to the senior officers, Bridges. Remember?
Admit, it is not looking good. Especially since the doctor does not seem confident Snyder will be ready to stand trial.
I still think something's off. Too buttoned up. Too clean cut.
But sometimes the most obvious answer in the correct one.
Dr. Delvalle! You finally emerged from sickbay.
You're ordering blood wine? Well, that can't be a good sign. And who is this?
I am JoeBean Officer Markiewitz, and I have accompanied the doctor after just trying to visit my client, Lieutenant Snyder.
Oh. Pleasure to meet you, Demaras. You wouldn't by chance be related to?
Yes. My great ancestry was the same communications officer aboard the USS Enterprise, under Admiral Kirk.
And how will that possibly help Lieutenant Snyder?
Apologies on behalf of the doctor. He's been working non-stop to try to get Lieutenant Snyder on the road to recovery.
I understand, Commodore. And after I walked into sickbay, I can't blame the man for having doubts about the lieutenant's recovery. I myself will have the unenviable duty of requesting a delay for his appearance, given the circumstances.
Was he really that bad?
Have you had no communication with him? It may be good for you to visit. Perhaps that may get him to open up about what happened?
Has he said anything so far?
When Lieutenant Snyder awoke, he was completely distraught. He seemed to think those in the room weren't really there. That he was being tested for something. He spoke, expressed wishes to end his life, to be done with some kind of experiment or trial.
Definitely not the sound of a man who...
Has been plotting against the Federation? No, I would say not. And I assume he isn't like that normally?
Snyder? No. Not that he's been an individual I've had a lot of time to work with, but prior to this, I thought he had a steadiness, energy that I hadn't seen since the war.
No, it's Uno. And now I've said it, I win.
Wrong. You need to get rid of all the cards.
Am I interrupting something, Ensigns?
No, sir.
I have a special mission for you three. One that I would like to keep between us.
Does this have to do with Lieutenant Snyder, sir?
It does indeed. This case is more complicated than I believe most will believe. I'd like you three to conduct an investigation of our own. Review the data, locations, any information we may have.
What are we looking for, sir?
Everything. Anything that seems suspicious or doesn't fit in this seemingly neat package that has been touting against the lieutenant. With the rest of the senior officers getting ready for the trial, it should give you enough clearance to go unnoticed as you poke around.
Who should he contact once we have something, sir?
I'll let number one know, but again, be discreet.
Yes, sir.
Computer,
Please hail the warden for the detention area.
Detention center?
Warden, this is Admiral Gallegos. I have a special request, if I may. I'm expecting Commodore Anders Ownsby to visit prisoner Lieutenant Andrew Snyder sometime today. Would you please alert me once the Commodore has arrived?
Yes, Commander.
Nuchnech.
Is everything secure?
Hitcha. Although, General, I have to say this operating in the shadows business, it upsets me. It lets back.
There will be time for your Klingon honor, as long as Major Stillis is able to finish his research.
I would serve you better out in open battle. This is the problem with Starfleet. Too much time sitting around making speeches about the issues instead of actually doing something. Anything about them.
Watch your tone, Kotath. I understand the news of your sister's demise from your cousin.
Do not call that Markiewitz my family, Admiral. She is nothing other than Gachsorpech.
Enough! I did not contact you for a swearing match, Kotath. I need to know you will stay on task and keep Major Stillis alive and progressing through his experiments regardless of your personal vendettas. Do I make myself clear?
Understood, Admiral. I will keep you updated on the progress.
No! Get away from me, you salt-sucking fiend! You can't be here again!
Oh, Andy, please! It's me! Why can't you see? I'm not trying to hurt you!
You've said that before. You need to just stay away from me. You hear? I don't want you coming here, seeing me.
Lieutenant Snyder, I have a word in just a moment. Miss, you were right.
I don't understand what's happening to him. The look in his eyes when he spoke to me, it's like I'm a stranger. No words.
When we found him, he wasn't in the best of shape. Give yourself and him some time.
Commodore, I know Andy. He wouldn't be capable of this. These charges.
The crew and I are doing the best we can to figure out all this. Just go and give yourself some space. Lieutenant Snyder.
Yes, Commodore?
I apologize I haven't been here sooner.
But it was too messy to visit one of your own accused of treason.
Okay, yes. It is a bit of a shock that something like this could happen right under my command. I know we haven't worked together long, Lieutenant. But even I will admit, this seems somewhat far-fetched given what I know.
And what could you possibly know, Commodore?
Lieutenant, you forgive my own fight with the Iconians. Believe me, there are horrors that stay with you. And nothing, not even vengeance, not rest, not time, will ever remove them. That's why I came. To hear your side of what happened. If there is a chance for something to be set right, a chance to understand what happened, set towards a path of justice.
Justice? You think you know anything about what I went through? Have you ever been a prisoner of war, sir? Do you know the smell of your own sweat, blood, and excrement stuck to your skin? The feeling of the welts. Pustules from sores forming where you've been strapped down. The sound of metal clanging as your body crashes against the bars. Darkness so thick, you can't remember the warmth of the sun, the moon.
Lieutenant Snyder! Commodore Ownsby? What is going on here? Guards, subdue the prisoner! Ownsby! Ownsby! Commodore! Commodore! Anders! Snap out of it!
Ah! What? Rachel? Ah!
Apologies, Anders. I walked in to find you in a state, with the prisoners screaming at you. Are you all right?
I don't know what came over me, but I'm fine.
I wouldn't call what I walked in on fine. Do I need to ask if you should recuse yourself from the proceedings?
What? No. No. I'm fine. I just... Just been a long few days.
Because after the depositions submitted by Chief Tan and Lieutenant Commander Nivu, I doubt this trial will take long.
Hey, now, wait a minute. The accused still has a right per Federation law to have assumed innocence.
Anders. Always the optimist. Even after the past few years with the Iconians? You know that, personal feelings aside, sometimes the answers are really that simple. Not everything needs to be a conspiracy. Let us handle the regulation of the law. You should take care of yourself and the rest of your crew.
Computer, begin recording for lab walkthrough on my mark.
Recording beginning on your mark.
Okay, Holden. I'm going to stay here with Bridges to stay and get the lay of the land, since I wasn't on mission last time. Report in if you need any assistance. Okay, Bridges, you're up. Walk me through the scene once more.
The console setup is still intact from the fight. You could probably wire in and take a look while I set up the parameter stand-ins.
I mean, this looks standard issue Starfleet, but Snyder's never shown any interest in the ship technology outside his flying purview. Computer, use my program to run the diagnostic on this device.
Running diagnostic. Warning, partial data corruption. Attempting recalibration for corrupted data. Corrupted data unable to recalibrate.
Computer, run the diagnostic on that piece.
Holding the bridges. Unknown assailants were found along the path. Full red alert. We need to get back to the ship.
Recon team to transporter, requesting immediate team evacuation. Red alert with hostile and...
Commander Camarta here.
Commander, Ensigns Bridges, Holden, and Esposito are all patched up. No lingering pain at the moment, so feel free to come to the medbay once your questions are ready.
On my way, Doctor. I thank you for keeping me apprised. Ensigns, I trust I've been called down here because you've recovered.
Yes, Commander. Ensign Esposito was able to hold on to his portion of the recovery.
Commander, if you take a look at the data I've uploaded from my tricorder, you'll be able to see what I was able to find.
What am I looking at, Ensign Esposito?
I used my own software to review the supposed plans Lieutenant Snyder had on the devices in the cave. The algorithm was able to detect in the corrupted data another device signature. Someone else had accessed the machine to scramble the information and frame Lieutenant Snyder.
Not to mention we were attacked by unknown entities, potentially searching for the same evidence he found.
Computer, can you pull the stardate we found Lieutenant Snyder? Check for the area as well as the quadrant for any signs of other unusual entities around the time our away team touched down on the planet.
Beginning data compilation. Anomaly detected. Warp signature arrived in the quadrant just as the away team touched down on the planet.
Why didn't we detect it?
Warp signature consistent with Klingon warbird of prey, Commander.
Computer. Send over a secure channel, the findings of Ensign Esposito, and a full report of this signature to JAG Officer Kui Demres and the Commodore. You three, get some rest. I'll make sure this gets resolved.
Order! Order! I am hereby calling this tribunal courtroom to order. Computer, begin recording for the trial.
Recording beginning.
This trial, commencing on stardate 89700.1 of Lieutenant Andrew Snyder versus the Starfleet Federation. The charges against the lieutenant are espionage and treason against the United Federation, as well as endangering 2 Starfleet officers. I, Admiral Sound, along with Admiral Gallegos and Admiral Bend, will be overseeing this tribunal. Order! For the defense, how does your client plead?
My client pleads not guilty, Admiral.
Prosecutor Sua, you may begin.
My house is my house. It has taken this office over the past few weeks to program the portable holodecks with all the depositions of all the participants. Technical schematics and the non-corrupted data from the crime scene have also been uploaded, along with the personal logs of the pertinent crew of the USS Resurgence pertaining to this case. The recreations will have a nominal 15.7% margin for error, but we believe the evidence will speak for itself.
Thank you, Prosecutor Sua. All right. And as for the accused...
JAG Officer Kui Demres, representing Lieutenant Snyder. Dr. Delvalle has sent over his latest physical evaluation. Unfortunately, the physical and mental state of the patient is still too unstable to make an appearance in the courtroom today.
Objection! The basic understanding of this trial is that the lieutenant appear before the court to hear the charges.
Order! Order! We will have order in these proceedings, or I will empty this room of any subsequent guests. Now, Prosecutor Sua, your concern is noted. But given these are just the preliminaries, and your confidence in the evidence, we will allow for the accused to appear when Dr. Delvalle clears him. De Emrys, you will ensure your client is in this courtroom in 3 days' time?
Yes, Commander.
Computer, finish recording. Court adjourned for the day. We will reconvene in 3 days to allow Dr. Delvalle to clear the prisoner to stand trial.
As you can, both Lieutenant Commander Nivu and Chief Tan both experienced overt actions by Lieutenant Snyder that were counterintuitive to trying to be rescued. Chief Tan's sacrifice to allow him to alert the rest of Starfleet only to disappear into Delarian space? What possible reason could there be to counter what Lieutenant Commander Nivu witnessed and endured? Think on that.
Officer Demres, you may proceed.
Thank you, Admiral. For our first witness, I call Dr. Delvalle to the stand.
Dr. Adam Delvalle, Chief Medical Officer for the USS Resurgence.
Doctor, you have been in charge of my client's recovery since he was discovered in Delarian space, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And can you give us an overview and update on the lieutenant's condition?
Lieutenant Snyder was brought into my medical bay, covered in various wounds, in various stages of healing. He was malnourished, lacking basic nutrients and water.
The wounds, Doctor. Can you go into detail about your observations?
Yes. There were multiple bone fractures in various stages of healing. Some seemed to radiate in a direction as though the bones seemed to spontaneously break. There were subcutaneous and even organ-level bruising, as well as various lashes, welts, and bruises across every expanse of available skin.
In your expertise, Doctor, could these injuries have been self-inflicted?
In my expertise, Officer Demuris, injuries of this extent could never all be self-inflicted. The lieutenant has expressed all the signs and symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, normally associated with victims of extreme war crimes or torture.
Can you elaborate for the court?
When Lieutenant Snyder first awoke, he exhibited anxiety, suicidal ideation, and hallucinations. Upon being transferred to the brig, an action I vehemently protested, his mental state deteriorated further into full paranoia and nihilism. Even now, he has expressed that he feels unsafe in crowds, and it is my medical recommendation he be excused from this courtroom immediately.
Order! Order! Thank you for that recommendation, Doctor. The court will take it into consideration. Do you have any other questions, Officer Demuris?
No, Admiral.
Would the prosecution like to cross-examine?
Negative, Admiral.
You are dismissed, Doctor. Call your next witness.
I call to the stand Lieutenant Snyder. I'll make this as quick as I can, Lieutenant. Can you please try to tell what you experienced?
I awoke in a cave, restrained in the dark. After I was arrested by a small group of Talarians, the shuttle I was on escaped, charted its own course, one I couldn't override.
So, you never intended to go to the Talarians?
No. I was trying to get to an access point so I could contact the Federation. But waking up in a cave,
The cave. What happened when you awoke?
It was dark. Only the sound of spiders and insects crawling up cliffs. I was caged up. Dropped to a machine that this major said was collecting information on various ways of torture and death. I left starving, sitting alone.
I call next to the stand First Officer of the USS Resurgence, Commander Camarta.
Commander Camarta, First Officer of the USS Resurgence.
I submit the court for evidence an update to the holodeck simulation provided by new evidence found with the aid of the commander and the Resurgence Operations Manager, Ensign Esposito. Computer, play new updates. How positive are you about the bird of prey?
Unless Starfleet has suddenly lost faith in its own equipment. Our sensors and conclusions show there was a Klingon ship within range the day and time we rescued the lieutenant. And I can tell you as the officer who first saw the state the lieutenant was in, I'd bet all my honor that someone else put him in that state. Someone who has taken obscene steps to cover their tracks.
The defense puts forth that there is a third party, an unknown assailant who arranged for Lieutenant Snyder to be captured, experimented on, and tortured. It is this individual who is the true enemy of the Federation. it will be up to this court, once again, to show that we can be better than our ancestors in deciding if we truly are an entity that is ruled by evidence and justice, or if we are to fall prey, like so many others, to accepting the easy answer, a scapegoat, to allow for a world where the ends justify the means, where a witch hunt can subvert the rights and privileges we hold dear.
You wanted to see me, Andy?
I've been seeing a trauma specialist recommended to me by Dr. Delvalle. I want to, apologize for how I've been acting. I understand if you need time away or don't want to.
It's not necessary, Andy. I know I can't understand what you've been through, but well, I do want to be there for you any way I can.
Well, it was a little closer of a vote than I would have liked. But my first duty as your commanding officer is to inform you, Lieutenant, that you are hereby on medical leave immediately until a time that you are cleared for duty and can decide your next move.
Thank you, sir. I am so thankful. Thank you for all your help.
Any ideas on where you'll go, Lieutenant?
I've been talking with Marrieta. I'm thinking Risa may be a good idea. A chance for me to get through some of the...
It's all right, Lieutenant. Risa is always lovely this time of year.
Really? Oh, I've always been curious as to humanoid experiences on Risa. I wonder if Dr. Delvalle would be open to some rest and relaxation.
You are officially discharged, Lieutenant. I'll leave you to your packing. All the best, Lieutenant.
Was there anything else, Doc?
Just a moment of your time, Lieutenant. I wanted to bring your official leave papers to you, especially after the ordeal you've endured.
Thank you, Admiral.
There, Lieutenant. Just can't have you remembering too much about your suspicions.
What? Oh, Admiral, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me, but I appreciate you bringing my papers to me directly.
Of course, Lieutenant. No trouble at all. You just take care and Risa. Rest up. You feeling okay now? Tell the Major his sample is secured. I'll send it with the next transport of supplies headed your direction.
Understood. The Major wanted to inform you this should allow him to complete his final review testing of the weapon.
Excellent.
You have been listening to Renewal, a Star Trek fan production. Episode 7, Advocate, written by Victory Witherkeigh. The cast of this episode features the voice talents of Andrew Goering as Admiral Anders Ownsby, Kristen Martin as Commander Kamarta, Jason Markiewicz as Dr. Adam Delvalle, Max Noble as Lieutenant Commander Nivu Zohar, James Wolfey as Lieutenant Snyder, Austin Clark as Ensign Simon Holden, Turinator as Ensign Bridges, Julie Marie-Paret as the computer, EllaGVA as 2 of 11, Kykix as Kotath, JoeBean as Prosecutor Sua, Ahansen as Admiral Sound, SharonG as Nurse Marrieta Vance, Kat Leroy as Bite, and Kat Roberts
as JAG Officer Demres and Admiral Gallegos. The episode was edited by Chase C., and the music was composed by Eleanor Morrow Music. Renewal, a Star Trek fan production, was created by Andrew Goering and Aaron McDonald, based on Star Trek The Next Generation by Gene Roddenberry, and Star Trek Online, developed by Cryptic Games. No rights infringement intended. Subscribe to this production wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to Riftpoint's YouTube channel, or follow us on social media on the links in the episode description. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you again, next time in the Rift. Star Trek and all related marks, logos, and characters are owned by Viacom CBS Incorporated. Riftpoint Productions, website promotion, and/or any exhibition of material created by Riftpoint Productions are not endorsed, sponsored, or affiliated with Viacom CBS or the Star Trek franchise.